So why am I doing this? I'm starting this podcast because we all have a story and finances play a part in our struggles and successes. If we can learn from the many mistakes many others have made, we can make sure that more of us are successful. Like the quote says, to increase the chances of success, we must increase our failure rate. To be honest, I failed a ton. I will bring people from all walks of life, but mostly service members. If you have a story you would like to share, do not hesitate to reach out. From the go, like and subscribe to this podcast so many others can benefit. So on this episode of the Financial Enabler podcast, we have Austin Childers. He is a recruiter in the United States Army and a real estate wholesaler. Like I've talked to you maybe 45 minutes on the phone, a bunch over Instagram, and this dude knows a lot. Like this is awesome, man. How you doing?
Doing well, man. Doing well. How about yourself?
Good. How was your day? In your day job? Did you recruit a lot of people? No.
So I'm going on paternity leave in about 8 weeks.
Okay.
Following paternity leave, I immediately go to clearing out of the Army. So I'm kind of in that phase of senioritis. You know, I go on leave for 15 days next week. I'll come back and work about 20, and then I'm essentially out of the Army. So it's kind of hard to recruit. I mean, I put 2 people in last week, but I'm just it's time for the next phase of my life. So.
Did you get him any good jobs, or are they not getting good jobs?
Johnson, 11 series,
okay,
putting a prior service back into his MLS, and that was 74 Delta, so Seabird.
Cool. I mean, that's cool. You know, it's always interesting. What was your job before you were a recruiter?
I'm an infantryman by trade.
Infantryman.
Yeah.
Cool. That's awesome. You know, the bread and butter of the Marine Corps and the Army. So one thing that I really appreciate. What's that?
Best job in the Army, hands down.
Best job in the Army, right? Oh, yeah. I'm a fan that you gotta feel that and believe that. I think it's really cool, the recruiting thing, and I think it takes maturity and getting older in the service to realize how important it truly is. Like it's obvious, it's like, oh, we need more people, but it's like, dude, it's crucial, right? You need to. And it's a great skill to have. So, cool. So you were an 11 Bravo. Now you're a recruiter. How long you been in the Army?
I've been in the Army for a little over 8 years.
8 years. Yeah. Where were you stationed before? Because you're recruiting in Atlanta, right?
Yeah, I'm recruiting in Atlanta. Yeah, so I joined up, went to infantry OSET, 1 station unit training out of Fort Benning, Georgia. Following that, I went to Fort Bliss, Texas, Old Ironsides, 1st Armored Division. Was a part of 3rd Brigade Combat Team there.
Cool.
Then after that, was there for 3 years. Then went to Fort Benning to Task Force 128 Infantry, the Black Lions. Was there for 3 years, and then got on recruiting duty during COVID. Came down with recruiting orders. I was actually just began the lockdown. Was going on a 5-mile run. I was trying to go to Ranger School, and because I was at Benning, I was trying to get in the first COVID Ranger class. My first sergeant calls me up. So, hey, man, what are you doing? I'm like, I'm running. He's like, well, while you're running, you need to just learn how to recruit because you came down on orders. And I was like, what the heck? And I fought tooth and nail to kind of get out of it. Came close to kind of signing a deck statement. So I was just like, this isn't what I want to do. I'll get out of the Army. But Samantha, she talked me into becoming a recruiter. And hindsight 2020, recruiting has been kind of a love-hate relationship for me, but it's what got me to real estate and wholesaling. So
yeah. Who's Samantha? Is that your wife?
Yeah.
Cool. I'm glad that you highlighted her, because, women are just badass and they're a key part of our lives, right? So that's awesome. So what does Samantha do?
She is a ORRN here in Atlanta at Northside Hospital. So she's an OR nurse.
So I thank her for her service because that's pretty incredible. I think that, it was so easy to be like, oh, thank you for what you guys doing during COVID. But it's like, bro, nothing changed. They're just exposed to whatever this thing is,
Well, what was crazy too, sorry, I'm turning off an alarm that's about to go back off for some medicine. Yeah. But nonetheless, whenever she was finishing out nursing school at COVID, so whenever COVID happened, her last 8 months of clinicals were done just on the computer. It's honestly kind of crazy. So her last year in nursing school was just all virtual. She had literally sit there for 8 hours on a computer and monitor a patient. So it's kind of funny watching that. But yeah, absolutely. I mean, I didn't realize the amount of knowledge a nurse knows up until I began dating one.
Yeah, that's cool, man. That's awesome. So we got your history, and I'm glad I try to get right through the history because I want to get to talk about what you're doing. So tell us about real estate wholesaling. How did you get started? Let's start with that. How do you get started with real estate wholesaling?
Yeah, so I got started in it. I knew about it in like 2018, 2019 through social media. I don't know how it just kind of fell in my lap on my feed. And I always said because I saw people making a lot of money doing it. But what real estate wholesaling is you're essentially the middleman in an off-market real estate transaction. So I come to you, Jamie, and let's say that you have a property. Let's just say that you inherited a property from your mother in North Carolina, and you live out in New Mexico now, and you want to offload that property, and you'll sell it at a discount because you don't need it. So let's just say you sell that property to me for $100,000. So I'd go with you and I say, hey, Jamie, I'll buy this for $100,000. And I know if that property is fixed up and renovated, that it's worth $275,000. And then I go to an investor and I find this, hey, I've got this great property in North Carolina, in Greenville, North Carolina, and it's worth $275,000 after renovation, needs $50,000 of rehab, and I'll give it to you right now for $130,000. And that investor's like, hey, this is a fantastic deal. I had signed my rights as the buyer to that investor, and at closing, they wire $130,000. $100,000 goes to the seller, and then $30,000 goes in my pocket. I get a wire or check for $30,000. So I'm essentially a middleman.
Wow, that is awesome. And so middleman, how hard has it been to find the deals? And what would you say is the number one detractor for people to get into wholesaling? Because obviously, if it was easy, everybody would be doing it, right?
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, finding deals is very difficult. I mean, it's kind of funny to think that you were the person essentially buying the deal, but you have to be good at sales because think about it, in America, the number one asset that the average American owns is what? Their primary residence, their home.
Yep.
So being able to call somebody, let's just say in Richmond, Texas, and they reach out to you and you're able to get them to sell their property to you that you've never met over the phone. So sales is very crucial. And then just understanding your target demographics. So the likeliness of finding that needle in the haystack, you have a higher likeliness to it. It's all volume based. It's just sales and marketing. That's all it is.
Are you a fan of Alex Hormozi?
Yeah. I literally listen to like his sales stuff all the time because he's a great salesman.
He is so good, right? Like, and
he thinks he doesn't sell you anything every time he gets on a video, but I mean, he is. He's fantastic.
Yeah. And here we are still hooked, right? Like, I literally wrote it in my whiteboard. It was like, volume negates luck.
Yeah.
And it's so freaking true, right? And that applies to sales. It literally applies to the military, right? You throw more at it, we're going to beat you, right?
Yeah.
So I try to always tie financial aspects to the military, especially to warfare, because it's very similar, right?
Yeah.
And so volume negates luck. Are you doing the August 19th event?
What is that?
Hormozi, he's launching, 100 million leads. He's doing an event on the 19th.
What does the event consist of?
I don't know. He just you sign up on acquisition.com/leads. I guess they just threw him a bonus, right? But I'm doing it, just because Hormozi's badass.
Shoot. I mean, anything I can do to get in front of people, I'm all about it.
Yeah. And I think it might be live. And which I'm gonna tie this in. I'm gonna take a little segue to this. So we're talking about Hormozi, and we were talking about this right before. So I have he's gonna have this event. I want to go learn from him because I think he is literally top notch. Anybody that wants to make it big in the real world, sales is a skill, right? We sell to our girlfriends and partners. We sell to our kids. We sell at work. As a recruiter, you're selling the military. So it's a great skill to have. So we spoke that you and I seek mentorship, and we seek to be around people that are better than us.
Yes.
I know that you already said that you have some mentors. How many mentors do you have right now?
I would say very personal, where I have relationships with them, too. And that's just where I can call at any given moment. Like I could call stepping back home on the phone. And if I have an issue, if he's not answering me, I'll have a response within 30 minutes saying, Greg Faracelli. But I mean, I've definitely paid for mentorship. Morby, I paid him a good chunk of money to learn creative finance. I'm actually seeking more creative financing mentors through a person that I do business with.
Okay.
No, yeah, but I'm planning on offering him a chunk of money to kind of learn his niche within real estate investing because I see how successful he is within it. Assets. But yeah, I mean, I have really 2 mentors that I can truly call at any given point and have an answer.
That's awesome. Now, to the question that I want to get to, why do you think service members are so against seeking mentorship or seeking training to be exposed to, and again, I'm going to throw some common names, right? Like Cardone, let's say Hormozy, Robbins, Milet, Bouchard. Why are people against that? Do you have any theories?
I'd say they're egos. Whenever it comes to, I'm going to relate this to the combat arms world because that's all I know. I don't know anything about being a military police officer. I know the infantry, right? And we're all just a bunch of like hard-bodied men who like to fight, fuck, and kill shit. Like, I know.
Yeah.
But it's the truth, right?
No, it's truth. I like it.
Ego. And I've seen it with a lot of my friends whenever I first started this. I'm like, hey, I'm getting into this. Sell me your house. Just putting my name out there, and they all thought I was crazy until, you pull it off. But whenever it comes to mentorship, I think it's just an ego where they're not willing to look at somebody and be like, okay, you do know a lot more than me, so why would I throw money at you to learn? Whenever the reality of it is, it's just like we were saying, you throw money to learn and then get into the room because you never know who the hell you're going to meet. And that's where the real money comes into play. Like, the saying is, your network is your net worth, right? And I know people who have hundreds of thousands or millions of dollars just sitting around, and I find something where I can make them money and myself money, and I present an opportunity to them, but I met them through a networking event. Is it not worth it? Or a piece of information that I learned and put it either into my business or personal life to make me a better husband, a better father, a better entrepreneur, a better salesman. Makes me better. It's worth it.
Yeah. No, I agree. And, what is it? Is the associations, right? Like, again, let's talk tied to Hormozy. That is the closest we can get to being around Hormozy, right? So I'm going to take it, right? If I could get in a room with him for an hour and he's like, well, bub, it's 10 grand. I would be like, dang, I need to find 10 grand, right? It may be worth it, right? Right. I'm going to go fight it, right? And I think that you say that, I like that because right now I have one mentor that I can call just about any time. I just recently met a pro skateboarder in the finance space that I'm talking to also. But, I just, what was it? I bought the Prince Pritchett, which is a meditation program. I bought the Dispensa program. I want to get for my team the Chris Boss, the FBI negotiator program. Never Split the Difference. I was like, what does it take to get better at your craft, right? And your egos is huge. And I'm asking this too because I have a message I want to put out to people is that ultimately we're talking about finance. There's an end goal of improving our state and being wealthier, right? And the why we want to get wealthy, maybe for our families, our loved ones, insert whatever. And then we have the service members or veterans that don't want to seek mentorship because of their ego, but it's truly they haven't found a reason to. And this is how I now mix it to people. I'm like, guys, go get filthy wealthy and then hire former CAG and Dev guys to teach you to shoot.
Yeah.
How much better would you be?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't care. You would be, go ahead. Sorry.
Well, what is wealth? I mean, wealth is abundance, right?
Abundance.
Wealth doesn't have to be monetary, right? I mean, there's many people who are extremely wealthy, but they're mentally and spiritually wealthy. They have that well within them where they have an abundance of joy due to their spirituality or whatever. So whenever it comes to your wealth, and you're right, like I want to be wealthy and I want to be financially wealthy because, whenever you realize that the amount of money that you could physically touch in the world and get a piece of, the amount of that pie that you could cut is just insane. And then on top of that, you're going to be either poverty is going to be difficult or getting wealthy is going to be difficult, but choose your fucking hard. Brad Lee says it the best. You're either going to sacrifice for what you want or what you want becomes the sacrifice. So
Yeah.
whenever I don't come home until 8 p.m., 9 p.m. because I'm at the office working, because, I mean, we have an office, then, and my wife is upstairs. She's like, man, it sucks that you're not home. Yeah, but at the end, it's going to be worth it to us. Or I'll
Right.
be home, but either way, at least I win.
Yeah. Right. And that's, you got to commit that to be able to get a different quality of life. And I keep trying to, the reason I'm saying this too is I want to get people to value money in their space. Right. So,
Absolutely.
like right now, have you ever seen the page Blake Water 0326, I think it is? Yeah. He's a Marine, former recon Marine. And he runs Orion Training Group. I'm like, guys, how much better would you be if you could go up to Blake and be like, hey, man, Blake, one Saturday of the month, you're training with us. Well, it's $3,000. I'll give you $4,000. Immediately, the impact on that unit would be overnight.
Yeah.
Right? Because that is a higher level, right? And I'm trying to convince people, it's like, seek wealth for whatever stage of your life. Right now, maybe just be a better warrior, to be that, buy that vest, and maybe later, maybe to retire your parents, to whatever quality of life, right? But if we could create these habits at 23, man, I would do anything to be thinking like this when I was in my early 20s, you know?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I say this a lot, recruiting, and I've spoken to successful entrepreneurs who were also veterans. I don't know about the Marine Corps, but what are the Army values? Loyalty, duty, respect, self-service, personal courage, honor, integrity. And then whenever it comes to entrepreneurship, do you not think that those values that we're taught from the time we step off the bus at Marine Corps Recruit Depot, Paris Island, or Fort Benning, Georgia, that those values, if you go start your own business, are you not going to kill it compared to your competitors? Like, you've got people who have been to war, multiple deployments, 3, 4, 5 deployments to Afghanistan. We all know them. Through their first 6 years in the military, they spent 48 months overseas. Bro,
Yeah.
that same level of tenacity and grit that you developed and go apply it in your personal life, you will fucking do it.
Dude.
But so many service members, I say it all the time, so many service members, they get out and they just hold themselves, they just lay back on the reins instead of going full-fledged into whatever they want. And mentorship could go into that. Having somebody kick an ass and say, go kill it.
That's huge. And you just like totally changed my mindset, because the Marine Corps is honor, courage, commitment.
Yeah.
And I'm like, if I have honor, courage, and commitment, let's say commitment to my team, courage to speak to people, it changes the game. Like I'm sure it takes a lot of courage for you to, like, I don't know how you find people, let's say cold calling.
Oh, yeah.
Bro, that takes a lot of courage to be like, hi, you don't know me, sell me your house, you know? And that is huge, right? And honor, it simplifies, just be good to people, right? I'm sure people think that get wealthy screwing people over. I'm sure some people have, but vast majority don't. You gotta be literally good to people. If not, the wealth doesn't last. You cannot outlast being a scumbag. Yeah. You know?
It always catches up to you. The universe
always
repay you for your karmic debt, either positively or negatively. It just depends on the scenario.
For sure. Dude, this was a great segue. Let's get back to you. So you got into wholesaling. I got a question for you. So are you originally from Georgia?
No, I'm originally from Western North Carolina, east of Asheville, south of Boone.
Okay.
Small town called
Marion. Cool. So when you were coming up, what was your upbringing like in the world of finances? Did you have broke, poor, or how was it?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, my parents worked, didn't have a lot of money. My parents now are very well off, but for us growing up, I didn't realize it at the time because they worked so hard to provide a life.
Wow.
Didn't know that we didn't have a lot of money, but definitely looking back, we didn't. Another thing is financial literacy was not there at all. Like, I grew up like, don't get a credit card, all this.
Yeah.
So yeah, financial literacy, I didn't know anything about. I was not raised in the household of anyone who is truly financially literate. So as I got into the military and started making money, I was not financially literate. And then really kind of what changed it was COVID. Whenever I was in the house, bored as hell, I didn't know what the hell to do. So
yeah,
just figuring out, just like, well, I want to make a lot of money. How the hell can I make a lot of money?
You took a tough time and made the best out of it.
Yeah, exactly.
That's awesome. And I think we negate a lot. It's easy to negate. It's like, oh, this is a hard time. I'm not going to come out on top. But then you talk to all the wealthy people and they're like, COVID, crisis. This is when I came up. And I'm like, you just chose to get out of this on top, you know?
Man, I wish more than anything I would have gotten into wholesaling early 2021 and been able to get deals, because it was the easiest time to sell a freaking house. And you could sell to I got friends who were selling to hedge funds, making Open Door. They've sold it. I've got friends who sold houses to Open Door, where Open Door lost 80 to 100 grand on the home, but they were just buying Wedgwood, all these huge iBuyers and hedge funds.
Wow.
It's the time to be alive, the real estate market, the last 3 years. So
yeah,
tail end of it, definitely. But yeah,
that's good. That's good. And with that, so in your upbringing, can you think of any negative phrases, any things that were said in your surroundings that probably came into your life, like, money doesn't grow on trees, all the wealthy are bad people? Can you think of anything else, or do you have a specific story or moment that highlights?
And I wasn't brought up in a household, thankfully, where it was just like people have money or scumbags, because you definitely hear it where like billionaires are terrible, X, Y, and Z. But I was brought up from my mom, my dad, my grandparents were just like, go get a good education, go get a good job, and work and make a good wage. That's the style that everybody in my family just preached, right? And granted, that's great for some people if you want to go become a doctor, a lawyer, something of that regard. But me, I was not the most studious person. Didn't care for school. You're not sitting chemistry class. I'm just like, what the hell am I learning this for? When am I ever going to know what A squared plus B squared equals C squared? Where am I going to use this? So I didn't really have that.
Yeah. That's and that's hard, right? Because that's what we get told, and it makes us we go to our education system, what limits us, and then you become an entrepreneur, and you're like, none of this matters.
Yeah,
I literally just need grind and desire.
So that's the thing. I have so many people and friends and colleagues within the space, and also I would consider myself more now an entrepreneur. I'm not an entrepreneur. I was an entrepreneur, but I recently stepped into a role within a business that was very successful, and we're going to scale it hopefully to 8 figures within the next 3 to 5 years. That's the goal.
Let's go.
I mean, like I said, you step into scenarios where you leverage, right? It's all about if I have the sales skills and the knowledge, and somebody has the integration skills and more funds than I have. If we can leverage those 2 skills and take it to the moon, why wouldn't we? So that's kind of the position that I'm in now. But going back into it, whenever it comes to like the initial entrepreneurial journey, so many people just don't take action. They're very analytical. That's where I talked about studious. You'll have a lot of people who have very high IQs, not saying anything bad, but a lot of people will sit here and study something for 8 months rather than just going and doing the thing and taking action to get the result that they want and the desired outcome.
Yeah.
Waiting for.
That's huge. Yeah. Fail forward, dude. I just heard that from my mentor, and it's so true, right? It's better off to go in, make $1,000 and lose $1,000 than think about how you're going to make $1,000, right? You learned it on the moment. So with that, besides recruiting, right? Because you already connected it. Can you like highlight a moment or a skill that you got from the Army that has made you a better entrepreneur?
Shit, I don't know. Just operating with a level of integrity. It's actually burned me. It recently burned me. July freaking early of this month. Was helping a gentleman out of foreclosure here in Atlanta, and I walked into his home expecting to make $30,000 to $40,000. And after sitting with him, he was a Vietnam veteran, was going through foreclosure, about to lose his house, living on Social Security. Wife had just passed away. Mortgage was $500 a month, and he was making $15,000. But he needed to stay in his home. We were going to give him like 90 to 100 grand at closing. We were going to make 40. Really good deal for everybody. But I went home, got in the shower, and I was like, man, this guy's not going to be able to survive out in the real world, out in the world, because he can't afford $500 a month, much less $1,200 a month in rent. So went and spoke to a friend of mine, the guy that I said I'm wanting to mentor me next. He's a very creative investor, and we came up with an option play, just like a stock option. You can do an option with a home. So we were going to reinstate his loan to have the option to purchase the property for X amount of dollars. The amount was $88,000. So we were going to pay $17,000 in arrears to have the option whenever he passed away or decided to sell the property, we could buy it at $88,000. That house is worth $250,000 the way it's sat today. So we were immediately walking into a long game of a play. And I would have equitable interest in that. And then what's even cooler is you could take that promissory note that I have between Jamie and myself, and I can go sell that to a note buyer for profit. But that's besides the point. So I came up with this creative strategy with my colleague, went and started stopping this foreclosure, stopping the auction, which talking to the trustee, X, Y, and Z. Come the day of closing, got everything taken care of. We were about to wire the funds to the trustee. We had a mobile notary coming out at 2 p.m. to close. The trustee calls me at 1:40 saying, hey, Austin, why is it that I have a quitclaim deed from another investor to purchase this property at this address, and you're about to close? I'm like, I have no clue what's going on. And turns out that seller was in a bind, and was in such a bind, and I guess we didn't have the level of trust that he decided to sign a quitclaim deed, which essentially he signed his house away to another investor that knew about us, and we got forcibly kicked out of the deal. So operating with a high level of integrity has definitely helped me and burned me, but it's besides the point. I still try to do the right thing.
Do you think that this gentleman got screwed in that other deal?
Absolutely. Ended up losing his house because I called within those 20 minutes. I called that other investor and I was like, dude, I mean, it was some very harsh words, of course, because I'd put in a lot of work, and I had a guy that's on our team. It was his first deal. He's actually in the Army as well. He's a recruiter. He served with me at Fort Benning. He's on our team crushing it. It was his first deal that he had locked up, and he was gonna make a little bit of money. So it was an exciting day. And yeah, they actually backed out of the deal because I told them that I had equitable interest and recorded the option, and they needed to pay me an additional $20,000 to get me to walk away. And the guy actually ended up losing his house, which sucks, but at the same time, it was just one of those things.
So wait, this old Vietnam vet lost. How did he lose his house? I'm confused with that part.
They we stepped away from the deal, and then they ended up not being able to perform and close. So he lost his home. I actually just
in the foreclosure.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. It's a part of it. Foreclosures, you would think, whenever I first started doing this, they were who I targeted all the time. You would think they're the most motivated sellers. They're not. They drag their feet. They drag their feet all the way to the day of the auction, and then they call you wanting help. You'll talk to them for 6 months, and then they either want X amount of money or they wait until the very end. But yeah, but that's part of it. That's part of the game.
Yeah.
It happens all the time.
Bro, that just stressed me out. Like if you cannot get the pressure as a service member that this story just has, it's like, it's so sad, and it shows the power of financial literacy.
Yeah.
And like, you literally saved this man's life. Mm-hmm. You were like, bro, you got this house. Here's 17 grand. Go live a decent life. We'll literally, you said, we'll fix it in the back end.
Yeah, exactly.
And now we don't even know where he's at.
Yeah.
Wow. Bro, you know what? I'll say this. I had never had a reason to get into wholesaling, right? I still don't know how to do this, but what you just said, the power. Do you imagine if we come up to all the Vietnam vets and we're like, hey guys, you're in this position, we'll hook you up. Here's 17 grand. That house is mine for 80 when you get out, when you pass. Yeah. Like, I mean, we just gave you your best, your last 20 years in existence is not going to be miserable.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, so this is wow, dude. This is badass.
Yeah, it's fun. Yeah, I love it. I love creatively investing. Like, that's where like mentorship comes into play and paying people money to learn knowledge.
And you did something, and you get to do something good. Wow, dude, that's awesome. What a great story, man. What a great story. What's that? Do you have? Well, let's go with that. So the integrity was a huge for you, and I would you say that? Obviously, this is a podcast, right? So, honestly, do you think you're gonna be less? You're gonna have less integrity in the future, or how do you balance it now? How are you gonna balance integrity and not getting screwed over?
Well, I think in business, you're always going to get screwed over in a sense, because just because you operate with a high level of integrity doesn't mean somebody else isn't, or you're not speaking with somebody or interacting with someone, because you and I have never been in a distressful situation like about to lose your home, where your back is truly against the wall to the point of where, like for that example, his back was against the wall and he was just looking for a way out. Now, granted, I was providing him the way out, but that goes into trust, right? For some reason, through all of our interactions over the course of almost 3 weeks, at the end of the day, there was something in him where he didn't trust that this young guy is able to do what he said he was going to do. And so he went with another option. Somebody played him. But yeah, I mean, I'm still going to operate with a level of integrity, because at the end of the day, my name is the one that's going out in front of people. If I call you and say, hey, Jamie, this is Austin with Gemini Buys, I am representing A, the company, and B, myself. So I have to continue to operate at that level and with that regard. I mean, it's just, you just got to kind of watch out and just play your cards right. And you're always going to get burnt, but you just have to fail forward, right? I mean, yeah, we lost money that day. We definitely lost a great opportunity. Did it sting? Heck yeah. Did I put a lot of hard work into it? Absolutely. But did I let it stop me? No, there's another deal and another thing to go get. So just go.
Yeah. Dude, that is awesome. And I totally agree with all that. And I'm going to tie it to one thing you just said of having your back against the wall, right? And we think that it's crappy to die, right? But you go ask old people, they're like, I'm not scared to die. I'm scared to lose my money. I'm scared to be hungry. I'm scared to all these countless other things that come with it. And that's really, that is a powerful motivator, right? Like, what do we need to do to never have our backs against that wall and to prevent and protect our loved ones from ever having that back against the wall? Like, right? Like I always say it, for me, a big motivator is my father. Right? I want to be able to tell my dad one day, it's like, Dad, go play golf today. It's like, I got to go to work. I was like, nah, you don't. You good, bro. Go play 3 rounds. Nobody cares. You'll be fine. And that's huge. And I had never heard of operate with a high level of integrity. Or maybe I've heard, but I've never stuck. And I think that is huge. I almost wrote it. I'm writing it almost as a principle, right? Like, if you do this all day, every day, go get screwed over, do it again, and keep doing it, you're going to rise up, you know? Yeah. So that's awesome, man. So you said you have teammates that are in the Army. They are recruiters. You guys are really busy folk. How do you balance? I mean, let's say, again, you have senioritis. How do your teammates who are recruiters that are doing this balance their day to day? Or
I mean, there's really, I don't know. He just started, but he's crushing it. I mean, he's got 6 houses under contract right now. I mean, he said walking into this, he's like, I just want to make 10 grand a month. His first month, he's about to get that, which is amazing, right? It's all
right.
But I don't know. We're still trying to figure out the balance for him, because he's just in that mode where he sees what he's doing and the opportunity. So he's kind of in that, target focus. He's like having to kind of blend it all in, but we're getting that realm figured out. But I mean, what's great is Nick, we have such a great, he deals with the marketing, and we're having such an amazing opportunity of marketing between having cold callers, cold texters that are offshore, paying for pay-per-click, and having inbound leads coming in, that there's such an influx of opportunity within our CRM that, he can sit here and win and still be in the Army, which is great.
Yeah. How much are you paying for that CRM? If you can share.
Yeah, pretty simply, I mean, I think it's like $125 a user. So
that's not bad.
Really great CRM.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome. Sorry for the audience. Like, what's a CRM?
It's a customer relationship manager. So
Cool.
it's
Perfect.
just essentially, it's just something where like I have data on you, and then I can interact with that data to either call you or text you or do whatever. So then I can track what's going on within my business.
Cool. That's important. I realize that I don't say the acronyms, and just as military acronyms are foreign to some, business acronyms are foreign to others, right? So that's huge. Okay, so that's where you're at. Can you highlight a mistake that you've made in the military with your finances? Let's say with your first, pre-wholesale. Just one, not all of them.
Coming back from a deployment in 2017, it's spending my money on booze.
Let's go.
Just being a typical rambunctious young infantryman. Just getting back with the boys and going to the bars every night and going out and getting hammered. That was definitely like, I remember at that time, because I was still young, my parents still had access to my finances. And I could call my parents right now and be like, hey, you remember 2017? And like the apple's sitting right here, and she's heard the story. It's like my parents were wanting to turn off my bank to where it's just like, you were blowing money on beer and bad decisions, but they just let me blow it to teach me a lesson. But yeah, blowing deployment money on booze.
Did you learn the lesson?
Oh yeah, absolutely, dude. 100%. I learned that lesson. I could have bought. You kidding me? I'm not a crypto geek. I mean, I hold Bitcoin and stuff. Don't get me wrong. I did really enjoy crypto a couple years ago. But bro, could you imagine if I would have put that money into Bitcoin in 2017? And what's crazy is I have a friend who done it, and he's living good.
Nice. That's awesome, man. I mean, you failed forward, right? You have that moment, you remembered it, and it's I think that those things that sting, we never forget them. Like,
I mean, it was a great time. It was a great time. Looking back, I don't regret it. I do. No, because I mean, those great memories. But,
yeah. For me, it was I think around 2013. I went on this PACOM deployment. I came back with none of my per diem. I was like just blasted it all in Malaysia and Guam, and there was one other. We didn't go to Philippines, but and Maldives. Yeah, I was just like, yeah, whatever. I was like, whatever it costs, it doesn't matter. But lesson learned, and I think I'm better for it. So that's big. What's next? You highlighted a business. Are you open to talk about that? And you already said you're taking it to 8 figures.
I want to take this thing to 8 figures. With Nick, I mean, he and I are both in that mentality. I'd say within the next 24 months, I know the breakdown to get to 5 to 7 million a year. With a very tight team. I mean, I can do that very organically with about 4 to 5 acquisitions reps. I've seen people do it. So get to that stage, start really buying assets with the money that I'm bringing in, because I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm making great money, which is a blessing, busting my ass, but I'm making real money now. Start acquiring property, investing, because I'm a real estate guy. You and I have actually talked about that. I want to talk to that with you later about other means of investing, because but start acquiring property, build a great portfolio to pass along to my children. One thing, I mean, I have my first son on the way, and I want to buy a rental for him every year until he's 18. But really, I want to be in my 30s and be good. I don't have to work if I don't want to, but Nick and I want to turn this into a large fund and create a hedge fund out of it. Be the biggest Southeast.
I mean, we both know that you're not going to stop working.
Oh,
because then you just start doing good things with your money. Like I've told the story before about that billionaire that he paid for a Starbucks barista's education just on a whim. Doesn't even know her name. It's like, here's the money. Or well, not a money, but call me. So that's huge. You're taking that's a long ways. And kind of segue to that is, I always tell people is that real estate is not the best asset class. Not because it's just not the best, but I also would say nothing is the best.
No, nothing is the best.
And people have
great at.
Right. It's like Cardone doesn't just have real estate. He's just really good at it and kills it. And there's people like Dalio's a hedge fund guy, right? but do you think Het Dahlia doesn't have real estate or whatever? So I think I'm highlighting this because for Americans, and especially really young Americans, they believe the only way to get wealthy is real estate, right? You could do so much.
Or selling the dream right now. That's the big thing. Is so many people. I mean, Grant Cardone? Yeah, he owns he owns billions of dollars worth of assets. But every time he gets somebody in a room, is he not selling the dream that you can do it too? Which there's nothing wrong with that. But 100% as a thing, right? I mean, I know people in the space that they say one thing and they're doing the other. I mean, they're not, they're selling the dream. Selling just makes a lot of money. So it's just one of the things.
Yeah, and I'm same with my perspective, right? As selling that dream that you can get to financial independence by insert whatever, like what is it? That Cody girl with laundromats. Hey, you can do it. You can do whatever, but it's not just the one real estate that majority of people focus on. And that's huge because it's hearing it from a guy that is doing well, is in the Army. You're just another Southern boy that is killing it now, right? Yeah. And that is awesome. And taking it to that level of magnitude. Now, through your mentorship and now where you are, how important to you is it to have that vision of 8 figures?
Yeah, so that's crucial. So one of my favorite entrepreneurs, I'd say he is my favorite entrepreneur, is Patrick Bet-David, right? I mean, if you know anything about him, he has a phenomenal story. He was an Iranian immigrant, served in the Army, started up an insurance agency, and turned into a mogul. But he says that whenever he was planning his life, whenever he finally figured it out, was he did it in 3 phases, 20-year phases. I look at it as 15 years. So I'm doing my first phase now of what I'm going to do within the next 15 years to get to where I want to be. And then I'll plan out the next 15 and then the last. And then at that point, that'd be 45 plus 26. I'd be in my mid 60s, soon to be early 70s. And then if I live that long, hell yeah, I've already won. But yeah, you have to have a vision and a planning of where you want to go, right? I mean, whenever I initially started, I mean, I remember telling Samantha, I mean, she's in the kitchen right here, and I was like, we were sitting on a beach in Florida, and I was like, between the Army and real estate, I want to make $100,000 a year. And that was a joke. And one of my mentors, Greg Fariselli, both of my mentors, I actually worked for free to kind of get mentorship from. But Greg, I worked for him for free, and he told me, he's like, if you don't have a 7-figure goal, it isn't a goal. And because whenever you realize, like I said, whenever you realize the money that you can tap into and the opportunity that is in front of you, that you got to Grant Cardone says it, 10x it, whatever you think you can do.
10x it.
Multiply it.
And that, sorry, go ahead.
You're still right.
And that's something that, to me, it's, we talk a lot about with my mentor and our group too, which is huge. So I just found out this is statistic, which is incredible. Women alone hold $26 trillion in America.
That's awesome. That's crazy.
So is saying, man, I really hope I have $10 million. Mm-hmm. It's not. And it's not a big piece of the pie, right? So like, and that's something that right now Austin and I are telling all you guys is, you guys can go get it. Put it in your brain. I want 10 million by 3 years. Sure, you may think that's ridiculous. It's not. You could do it. Go grind for it. And if you get to 5, guess what? When you hit 5, then you can say, I want 50. Go get it, right? And that's how you and I are thinking,
Well, I mean, you hear it all the time in terms of finances. The same amount of work, the hardest money you'll ever make is to get from nothing to $100,000. But the same amount of work that got you from nothing to $100,000 will get you from $100,000 to $1 million. Yeah. And then to get from $1 million to $100 million is the exact same amount of work. And then let's be honest, if you know how to do it, once you get the $100,000, you hire somebody, you figure out your strengths, hire your weaknesses, and then you can scale and multiply that and get to where you're wanting to go.
What would you call that process where you bring in somebody to replicate yourself to do things that you don't want to do anymore? Recruiting?
Yeah, recruiting, right?
Yeah. Recruiting, sales, right? Sales, right?
People.
Go figure, right?
Yeah. The power of being able to influence somebody to get, because think about it. Whenever it comes to business, think about Amazon. Amazon is huge. Bezos got so many people to believe in what he believed in that all those people created Amazon. Did Jeff Bezos really create Amazon? He was just the brain. But
That's it.
Every motherfucker that he had come with
Yep.
it.
Totally.
Now he paid people millions of dollars for him to do nothing.
And he's given us a much better life. All of us shop on Amazon, right? So every time I like to think, it's like, thanks, Jeff, because my life is easier, you know? So with mindset, right? Because clearly you've highlighted a lot about mindset. I've listened to a lot of Patrick Bet-David, huge mindset guy. What books are you reading, have read that you would say, hey, guy, boom, 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 this will change your life?
Suck at reading. Samantha's the bookworm. She, last year, I think she read 86 books, something astronomical.
Great.
I don't know, Your Next 5 Moves by Patrick Bet-David. That's a great one.
Okay.
Right now, I'm reading Sales Boss. That's a good one.
Who wrote that one?
Josh Witzman. I don't remember the name.
I've heard of that one.
I'm reading that one right now to like kind of get into a groove of hiring. I don't know. I'd say I love Your Next 5 Moves. Like I said, Meditations by Marcus Aurelius. That's probably one of my favorite books ever of all time. Being able to realize that a Roman emperor thinks and operated the same as you in the sense of how he spoke to himself, and his level of stoicism was beautiful. I'd recommend that to anybody.
Okay.
But I'm not an avid reader. I'm terrible at it. I need to get better at it. I say all the time I'm going to read, and then I work.
Yeah. I got myself. Well, I mean, you said you listened to YouTube's earlier, right? It's how do you right? It's how you digest information, right? I'm trying to read more because I actually am not good at learning on YouTube. Like YouTube does not work for me. I'm like, whatever. I learn better through reading or in conversation. But again, it's like we need to figure out how we learn. And for me, it's like audiobooks work great. I always say that I'm a psychopath. I'm like, I'm gonna go ruck, and I'm like listening to a book on taxes. People are like, what? So yeah, I mean, it works for me, right? And I'm able to digest it.
Just downloaded Audible just so I could
go. Get it.
Yeah, I just downloaded Audible so I could start listening to audiobooks and stuff, because I do, like, there's so much, I don't know, success leaves clues, you know?
Yeah.
You know that all the time. Like, the people who made a lot of money, they leave clues, and books are clues. You can literally, Patrick Bet-David says it. He's like, if you read about finance, economics, marketing, sales, and do that for the next 5 years, it'll transform your way of life.
100%. Yeah. I think that's we got to read more, and kind of like I want to tell this for the audience, right? Because our audience is my audience is military. I'm not telling you to stop reading military books. I'm telling you, if you read 5, read a finance book. You know, read a self-development book. You know, like whether it's go through meditations, go to Patrick Bet-David, Think and Grow Rich, Psychology of Money. You know, there's countless subjects, but you will become better by learning a skill outside or knowledge about a subject foreign from you, right? Like, and I always say this that I've realized is like Cardone, Patrick Bet-David, Ed Milet, right? All these greats, they're just like generals. They're leading people, they're influencing, they're leveraging assets, they're staying ahead of the threats, the market, whatever. So you can become better if you listen to these guys, right? And I try to leverage that to people to tie it back to our beautiful art of warfare, that got us here, right? So that's great. So no reading, Audible's on this way. Yeah, which is good. I'm not going to act like I've done it forever. I just started reading because Audible's my thing. And I'm trying to force myself 10 minutes a day. It's like, you will read this, So cool. You're going long ways. When you get out of the Army soon, what would you say, what impact do you want to have in the world? I know you want to take care of Samantha and your newborn baby. What impact do you want to have in the world? How do you want to change the world?
I want to change the lives of people around me. I want to have, show people that you can go be something, like being able to go. I mean, granted, like whenever I do have if and when I do have a large sum of money, I mean, of course, being able to give back to communities, go back to my hometown, be able to kind of help out there, go to Western North Carolina. But really, I just want to show, really, like, one thing that I'd love to do is just like what you're doing, show service members the opportunity that they can create for themselves, regardless of if you're in or out of the military. Because like I said earlier, one thing that I really believe is so many service members could become amazing entrepreneurs. Now, granted, your niche might not be real estate, might not be finance, but how about you can go become a welder and go crush it, and then
You can.
or be a plumber and go do something like that. So, being able to give back to the community of the military would be something I'd love to do, to show people what they can do, what they can truly go accomplish with the skills and attributes that were beat into them and developed into them through serving within the Department of Defense. That'd be a thing I would love to do one day. So.
Bro, that's huge. That's a big goal, and I like it because it's very broad, and we can get it really concise. It's like how they can create for themselves is like mighty. Now, what would you like to improve in your community? Back in North Carolina.
I don't know, having the ability to show people that they can go seek what they want. Like I said, so many people just would rather sit here and, like, they don't take massive amounts of action, when in reality, like, that's something that I would love to show, like, people that I directly, like, surround myself with. Another thing is just, I don't know, a level of humility, being able to get what you want, but then also, give back and do shit like that. I don't know.
That's good.
Honestly.
So I'll explain to you later.
I like it though. Yeah.
I'm asking it for a reason, because it's something that I've learned from some of the counterparts from Patrick Bet-David is like the granularity of the dream, right? And that's why I was just curious if we could get it out. So how would you tell a service member, because this is something that I've realized, I've struggled to convey it. Maybe I'll ask you so we can figure it out together. Picture an infantryman like you, right? You're a badass, and you feel a high level of gratification with what you've done in your career. How do we convince them that is incredible, but you could be so much more in your life, without saying that moment it was bad or small, right?
To not negate it. Yeah.
Not negate it, right? Exactly.
Yeah. So, man, my best friend, that is a prime example of what I want to do with him. He's a very high-level infantryman. He's doing some incredible things out of D.C. right now. But nonetheless, I mean, he's that type of person where if he got out of his shell because the only thing he knows is the Army and went and put it into something like business, he'd rush everything. So that's something I'm literally trying to do with, like, one of my homies right now. But I would say, I mean, that's where people like you and I come into play, where, I don't know, people, seeing is believing. And talk a big game until they see it. And it's like, well, how the fuck did you do that? And then you mentor them, you guide them. Because, I don't know, another thing that I've realized is so many people, finance isn't either. I mean, it should be. Everybody should understand it. But, like, man, I could sit here and talk about real estate, houses, until I'm blue in the face. But then my roommate and coworker who lives upstairs, he just wants to go be a lineman. So, but I can also make it to where he's, he sees me winning. And he's like, well, shit, I'm going to go be the best power lineman there is for Georgia Power,
Yeah. Yeah. That's huge. And I think that I wish we saw the people that have won already, right? Like, to me, as an Army guy, Patrick Bet-David, literally made it happen. Robert Kiyosaki, the Marine, literally made it happen. Like, these guys, it's already been done. We don't have to rewrite a book. I mean, our book wouldn't be very much different than theirs, perhaps. And it's like, you can go do it too. So hopefully we are trying to be this example. And that's why we're in this podcast. We want people to see, you're doing it, I'm doing it, you can do it too. If you're a 20-year-old listening to this and you're like, man, the Army sucks. Yes, it does. It'll get better. You can accomplish whatever you want, right?
The Army's great. The Army's great in itself. I mean, there's good days, there's shitty days, but it's still fun. I mean, where else can you go sling a Carl Gustav and blast a 240? Like,
No.
where else do you get paid to do that shit?
No, I don't know where else, which is awesome, right? That's what I try to value. We both clearly do value our time in the military for what it was and how good it was. Now, if you had an audience, I have my audience. You've said a lot. What would you say? Like any closing remarks? I was like, guys, boom. What would you tell them if you had all of them in front of you right now?
Shit, save your money, invest your money, and invest in a skill that you can take and make more money with. That is what I would tell anybody, regardless of if that's sales, becoming a welder, becoming a lineman, mechanic, going and becoming a doctor, but invest in your own personal knowledge into a skill set that can make you money. And
both,
because like, I don't know, the W-2 life, it's great, but a wage, in my opinion, is just a way to just get you to settle. And that's not me. So just invest in a skill set to be able to get you to the next level.
For sure. And I'm glad you highlighted.
Like, you know, like, if you would have ever have told me 2.5 years ago that I could sit here and lock up 8 houses in Macon, Georgia, and make 90 grand on it off of some older couple, then you would have, and close in 30 days, I would have told you you're nuts. But now, busting my ass, and here we are. So
that's awesome, dude. And I think I lost my train of thought, but clearly that's awesome, right? And investing in yourself, it's huge. And believing, once you realize that it's doable, they can get there. And I had such a great remark to say to that, and I just lost it. I'm sorry. I owe you guys. But dude, that is incredible that you're there now. You're making it happen for you and your family, and that these guys can do it too. These girls and guys can do it too. They can get to something great. I know you don't have social media, but I'll ask. If somebody reaches out to me and say, I want to be a wholesaler, I'll fly to Atlanta right now to work for Austin, would you be open for me to connect you with that person?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I'm looking to hire salespeople in the coming months.
Okay.
I'd love to teach people as well. Another guy that you need to get in contact with, I can get you a hold of. You talk about a successful wholesaler, Naaman Taylor. He just got to the military, and he created a 7-figure business while being in the Army as a flipper and a wholesaler. Stationed in Germany, then went to Hood and then got out. He was in the Army for like 13 years. He just ETS last year, so I need to get you in contact with him. But nonetheless, I mean, I'd love to. You can connect them, give them my number. You have it. I just recently deleted social media just to be more present in my life, because I know I'd find myself working, and then whenever I'd be with Samantha, I would be in by phone on Instagram looking. So because I'm a funny guy. So.
I get it. I wish I could quit mine, but I literally need it right now to continue to maintain.
He's like, Nick was talking with me, and he was like, dude, we need to start like making a social media page, have each person, like, you know, so people are representing the business, and I do need to do that. And because having a brand in 2023 is so if you're doing something, it is, you know, because I mean, your network is your net worth. You never know who the hell's going to see you.
You never know.
I don't know. I need to be more disciplined with it. So right now I'm just cutting it all out to be more.
That's awesome. Well, dude, this was incredible. I know that this is just the first of many conversations we're going to have. It was great having you here. I know Samantha's listening. Thank you for letting me borrow her for this hour. So you guys are awesome. Thank you for being a role model to all service members. So we'll leave it at that. And thank you very much, guys, for listening in.
This podcast is not financial advice, and it only represents the opinions of those participating. Our goal is to get you to your version of financial independence. Please follow and like on every platform.